Hey everybody, Aaron here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in the Demise of the Faithful update to Dead by Daylight, and we're going for the Devoted Gatekeeping achievement. This is to sacrifice all 4 survivors before the last generator is fixed a total of 15 times. This one's going to be done from the killer side. You can get this done with any killer, so no purchase necessary for this one. That being said, you should be able to work on most of this achievement while working on the various adept killer achievements, and that's largely due to the fact that getting a 4 sacrifice game is going to largely contribute to a merciless killer rating most of the time. That being said, if you are all caught up on all of your adept killer achievements and are just strictly focused on grinding this achievement out, just make sure you pick whatever killer suits your playstyle and just pair them with whatever perks, add-ons, or offerings suit you. Just remember to avoid anything in the build that is going to kick in during the end game countdown. The reason for that is you are supposed to finish this game before the last generator gets fixed, so make sure you keep those things in mind. Alright, so a few ground rules that we need to get out of the way in order to get the achievement. First off, you are going to need to sacrifice all 4 survivors. So what this is going to mean is you need to make sure you pop all 4 survivors on the hook, and they need to advance all 3 hook states and be eliminated from the game that way. Disconnects are not going to count, so if someone disconnects in the middle of the game, you are going to not be able to work on the achievements for the remainder of that game. Kills are also not going to count, so you cannot use a Mori item to execute a survivor, nor can you use any of the killer's abilities that allow you to kill a survivor. So, for example, Michael Myers is evil within Tier 3 using a Tombstone piece or Judith's Tombstone, or the Pig's Reverse Bear Traps, or the Spirit's Rancor perk. Those will not count towards the achievement. Also, you cannot let a survivor bleed out and die that way, as that will count as a traditional death and not a sacrifice. Your sacrifices do have to come in the form of the hooks and the hook states that come along with them. That being said, the advantage to working on this achievement opposed to the adept killer achievements is you are allowed to use whatever perks you want. So if you find a build that suits you, make sure you do take advantage of so. Highly recommend any perks that are going to stall the game. So any perks that keep the survivors off of the generators or on the generators longer are going to be a big help for this one, because we are going to want to finish the game in a timely manner before all of the survivors manage to fix all of the generators. Also, since we are not worried about our killer rating, we can employ some pretty cheap tactics like camping the hooks, for example. Do keep in mind that you don't want to waste too much time camping, so make sure you camp with a relative distance, but you shouldn't be penalized for it if you are not going for the merciless killer ratings and just focus on sacrificing all of the survivors in a timely manner. So if you do want to camp the hooks, make sure you do so strategically and make sure it does not eat up a ton of time, and take advantage of anyone who's trying to come in for the rescue, and you could punish accordingly. But of course, nothing is going to beat good old Dead by Daylight fundamentals, so make sure you stick to good chasing, good attacks, good downing, and good hook strategies, and we should be good for the quad sacrifice in due time. The only real challenging part of the achievement is when you're going to be down to the last 2 people. Be very careful as you are sacrificing the second to last person. The reason for that is the last person in the game is going to have the advantage if they find the hatch first, and if they escape through the hatch, obviously that's not going to count since we didn't sacrifice them. So be a little careful with that. And if you are wondering, if you do close the hatch in order to force the end game countdown, as long as there were still generators on the board while closing the hatch, you should still be good for the achievement if you do manage to find them and sacrifice them before they can get to either one of the 2 exit gates. So make sure you do keep that in mind. So here we are on our penultimate survivor. We are going to pop them on a hook and then take them out from the game. And then we are going to be down to our last person. Be very proactive on your hunt here. You are going to also want to prioritize trying to find the hatch first, because if you can shut the hatch, there's only going to be 2 places for the last survivor to go, which is going to be either one of the 2 exit gates. But if you happen to spot them before either one of you finds the hatch, make sure you just be super aggressive and make sure you try to down them as quickly as possible. Since they are the last person in the game, there's going to be no one to save them, and then there's not going to be too much resistance that they can put up other than trying to run away. So make sure you just try to take them out, and then once all 4 people are out of the game through a sacrifice, you should be good for the count to the achievement. And you need to make sure you just do that for 15 games. This one's going to be a little on the grindy side because obviously you can only get 1 count per game for this one since it takes the entire game to make progress with this achievement. And you do have to be kind of good at the game in order to get this done effectively. Also, there is going to be a degree of luck because you do have to play with survivors who are going to be sportsmanlike enough in order to not disconnect when they are at this situation. But nonetheless, once you manage to get a game where you get the 4 screaming skulls in the HUD and there are still generators left on the board, you should be good for the count towards the achievement. Keep that up until you get to 15 games like this, and then you should be good for the achievement after your 15th one. There it is. This one is going to be for 20 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.